Event 11 is going to be one of the fastest we have seen here at the 2020 Reebok CrossFit Games. It is the Sprint Sled Sprint presented by Whoop. 100 yards down the field, straight sprint, then they're going to grab that sled, push it 100 yards back, and then a final 100-yard sprint across the finish line. And Nikki Fraser has more on that sled.
It will be very important to see exactly where the athletes place their hands on these sleds. Too high up and they run the risk of pitching the sled forward and the front digging into the ground. What they want to do is get low on it in order to use that speed and velocity and get to the end faster than anyone else. Now, this is sled technique. This is something they've done before and it's something they should know. But this is also a sprint event, so really anything could happen.
Well, this one is going to hurt. It's a blast furnace for sure. You have to be able to accept the pain. There's no excuses. You know it's going to hurt. Make it hurt, but you have to go all out, and also being able to really bring it home in that final lap.
Event 11's underway, 100 yards down the field, and it is Tia Toomey and Haley Adams out front early.
And I saw Haley running earlier in the warm-up area. She looked very powerful in her runs, and I like her long strides. I want to see if this sled is going to do anything to her because she had a rough go of it in the 2019 games. But Tia Toomey, look at that power, that drive.
Brooke Wells was third to the sled, and now she has passed Haley Adams and putting the pressure on Tia Toomey, and two different styles right there. Toomey leaning over into that sled. Brooke Wells very upright, the only woman on the field with that technique right now.
Upright, she's carrying it, and we've seen this in all the different games. We've seen it with Nail Maddox, we've seen it with other times that we use the sled. If you can stand up and do that, that's a lot less pressure on your legs and on your back. Now it's all about that sprint.
Tia Toomey's off first, Brooke Wells behind her. Now Toomey looks like she's opening up a lead on Brooke Wells, so Tia Toomey is going to cruise to her 9th event victory, but this is big for Brooke Wells because she came in 5th place overall. She's going to get 75 points. Here comes Katrin David's daughter. She will finish in 3rd. Haley Adams will take 4th, and it's going to be Carrie Pierce in 5th. So Toomey, another event win as Pierce comes across the finish line. Katrin David's daughter looking like she's going to stay in 2nd place overall. Haley Adams looking like she will stay in 3rd. Now, Brooke Wells, courtesy of that effort, will move most likely into 4th and drop Carrie Pierce to 5th place overall.
We knew this one was going to hurt. We knew that the ladies really had to attack this event. I just wasn't expecting to see that much necessarily of a difference of the sled. We've seen that at different times, but the last time we saw the sled out here when it was the sled, the bar muscle-ups, and then the sled, we didn't see that much of an attack or a difference. They all came out of the gates hot. I don't think anyone necessarily went 100%, but they were definitely going for it. They knew they had to have enough gas in the tank for that drive. Now, when they got their hands on the sled, T looked extremely powerful right out of the gate. You could see everyone getting in there and driving. You could see Carrie doing her thing, trying to get in there. But Brooke Wells was actually lifting it up. That kept her right in the mix with Tia Toomey. But on that backstretch, Tia just had that last gear, being able to kick it into overdrive and come across that line in that first place.
Tia Toomey with another event win, has now won 9 of the 11 events. Brooke Wells will take 2nd. She needed that as she came in 5th place overall with now 1 event remaining. Katrin David's daughter takes 3rd. Haley Adams 2 seconds behind her. And it's Carrie Pierce who takes 5th. And Nikki Fraser is with Tia Toomey.
Tia, it's really interesting to see that really no matter how many events you win or how far in the lead you are, you put 100% into every opportunity you have. I mean, tell me a little bit about why that does or doesn't matter how large your lead is.
I think it comes down to me not being satisfied if I don't give it my absolute best. Obviously, depending on the workout and everything, you got to play the game, and you know, there may be some workouts where I'm a little bit more conservative than what I would normally have. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
I have someone like right there breathing down my neck.
Sure.
But you know, like a workout like that, it's just all speed, and I knew that Brooke and the other girls would definitely be pushing hard, so why not push hard too?
Sure, why not? We saw a lot of different techniques out there. I mean, Brooke was standing, you were sort of like mid-level. What was your strategy for the sled?
Just go. I think it really depends on how tall you are and also what you what suits you best, you know. You can't look at what other people are doing and copy them because it might not work for you. So that's when training comes into play, and what works great in training and what you've tested typically is the way you want to go.
One more event. Dave Castro has said it's the hardest event in CrossFit Games history. Again, you're smiling. Are you excited to see what that might be?
Oh, of course. You know, he talks up a big game with that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is.
Thank you so much. Congrats.
Thank you.
And once again, the two champions sharing thoughts on Event 11. Men up next at the 2020 Reebok CrossFit Games. Here are the overall standings for them. Matt Fraser, your overall leader, with 950 points. Samuel Quant right now occupies second place with 515, and he has a 60-point cushion over Jeffrey Adler. Noah Olson in fifth. Couldn't be simpler, Bill. We're just going to run down the field, and then we're going to grab a sled, push that 100 yards, and then sprint back 105 pounds for the men here.
It is really a true blast furnace. I mean, it's going to be a fast event. It's the fastest one we have the entire games here. Run down, push the sled, run back, finish. That is it. You see 105 pounds on the sled for the men, and it's gonna be gritty.
Event 11 underway. 100-yard sprint down the field. Noah Olson looks like he is out front early.
And that's something Noah wants. He should have had a good event in that swim event, but just couldn't put it together. Attacking here, again, it's a short event. He did well on the sled last year, and that was a great position for him to be in, getting to that sled the first position.
Now, Olson first to the sled. Matt Fraser and Sam Quant using that same technique that we saw with Brooke Wells, and they have taken the lead away from Olson. Fraser slightly ahead of Quant as they head back down the field. Olson in third now, Medeiros in fourth, and it's Jeff Adler in fifth.
Looks like Sam Quant's legs are starting to get a little bit tight there. He's really pushing it with Matt. I love the position that they're in, but now what do they have left in the legs for the sprint?
Final sprint down the field. Matt Fraser just ahead of Sam Quant. Fraser looking like he's going to hang on, but this is huge for Sam Quant as he looks to hang on to second place. And that's going to be a photo finish.
Wow.
Matt Fraser by 0.4 of a second over Sam Quant. Justin Medeiros will take third, Olson in fourth, and Jeff Adler in fifth. But again, Sam Quant, 75 points. That's big as he looks to stay in second place.
Huge finish for Sam Quant, but I tell you what, I have never seen two baby Bambis racing so quickly. I love the fact that they had to grit through that. And you could tell that was not a normal gait, but man, that was so close. Maybe another 10 yards, and I think Sam would have had Matt, but that was beautiful. So a great start off the beginning. We saw Noah Olson just come right hot, right out of the gates. He jumped out into that lead position. As they make their way through here, they grab that sled, they're pushing back, and then I saw Sam and Matt both kind of carrying the sled, very similar to what Brooke Wells did. Up nice and tall, not that straight arm leaning forward. You can see them right there. They're almost carrying the sled as they're getting across, but look at the legs. The struggle that these guys had to get through, that lactic acid buildup, and then that was so close. That was probably the most fun sprint I've ever seen here at the CrossFit Games. It was so tight. And man, I tell you what, another 10 yards. Ooh, I think it would have taken him.
How close it was as Fraser got that timing chip across the finish line, less than 0.4 of a second ahead of Sam Quant. And Noah Olson is now finally getting upright. And remember, it wasn't that long ago when that guy couldn't sprint. And clearly addressed that weakness, wins another event, and he is with Nikki Brazier.
0.4 of a second. When you are sprinting down the field and you look over and you see someone right there with you, how much does that fire you up to get to the end?
Oh, I mean, I didn't even have to look to the side. I saw him out the side of my vision. I almost tripped a couple times when I first turned around. My legs weren't moving like I thought they should. And then it was just like muscle failure the last 20, 30 yards. So that was just all grit, determination, getting across.
Now, I asked this question to Tia earlier, but I want to ask it to you as well. No matter how much of a lead you have, you give 150% every time you get out on the competition floor. Why is it important for you to continuously push for number one, even if you've already got that points lead?
I mean, I want to see what I'm capable of. you know, Tia and I put in a year like no other.
Yeah.
So it'd almost be a waste to throttle back and not see what we can do.
Anything in particular you're hoping for this next mystery event?
Oh, God, I don't know. I've given up on guessing games with Dave a long time ago.
That's fair. All right, Matt, thanks so much. Congrats.
Thank you.